Hey, hey, hey. All right, go ahead and grab your Part 1 community. Make sure you got some a pen and you're highlighting all the things I say to write. Okay, so this is all about a community. And we just finished up population, which is one type of species. And so now we're on to community, which is, you want to write this at the top. Community is all living organisms in an area. Okay, so like if we're talking about a farm, the population will be just the cows. We're talking just the cows. What's their size? What's their, population size? How many cows? What do they eat? And so when we were talking population, we were just talking about the cows. Well, now that we're on the community, we're talking about the grass, the cows, the, ducks, the pigs, the moss, the bacteria, all the living organisms on the farm. So there's going to be more factors with community. It says this term refers to a collection of interacting populations within the given area. And of course, you wrote all living organisms in an area. And so do me a favor, also write down example, bacteria, because I want you to make sure you include bacteria when you think about this. Plants, animals, and of course the fungi. Okay, so species richness is the number of different species. So like just a minute ago when I named them, I was like, there's the grass, there's the tree, there's the cow, there's the duck. So the species richness is the number of different species. Like there's 27 species in that area. Like not actual, like there's 10 cows. Cow counts as one. So species richness is how many different species there are. And then relative abundance refers to the population size for each species. So, for example, there's 25 oak trees, 25% pine trees, stuff like that. Rare or is the organism common? Like if there's just one of those trees, then it's rare. But if 80% of the forest is that tree, then it's, really common. Okay, so check out this picture. This is species richness versus abundance. So the top one, you can see there's 4 types of trees, A, B, C, and D, and they're all the same percentage. So there's 4 types of trees. That's the species richness. Okay, the species abundance, look at that. 80% is the A tree, probably an oak tree or something like that. So 80% A, that's the one that's the most common, and then the other one's 5%, much more rare. Okay, so when we talk about communities, we're going to basically talk about how the different populations interact together. So how the different populations interact together. So on 2 it says interspecific interactions. Okay, so the first relationship we're going to talk about is competition. And competition is bad for both populations. So negative. That's what bad. It is considered a negative relationship. Competition exists between populations because they run out of resources, such as, write in for me beside in small supply, right? Food, water, shelter, and mate. Food, water, shelter, and mate. Active competition drains energy away from reproduction. So if they're fighting over food or chasing food, then they're not going to be able to reproduce. So the populations are going to be small. The species cannot occupy the same niche. So 2 species can't do the same thing, eat the same thing, live in the same place. So where it says niche, circle niche and write a population's job. Kind of like here at Trustful, 2 teachers can't teach AP biology and do PreAP biology. Just like no other teacher in the school has my exact job. No other teacher in the school has Mr. Stoll's exact job. So, a niche is a job. Okay, predation is the next one. And you know what a predator-prey relationship is, right? The predator is benefiting while the prey is being negatively impacted or hurt. And so there's two here. Herbivory is where like the horse eats the grass or the cow eats the grass. And then there's parasitism where, like a tick in a dog's ear. It doesn't kill the prey, but it harms the prey, right? And there's ectoparasites where the organism lives on the outside, and then there's endoparasites where the organism lives on the inside. And so predation, think about predator-prey relationships. Okay, with adaptations for being a predator, they have claws so they can kill their prey, teeth so they can eat. They may have some sort of poison. So this is just any kind of protection. They can run fast and hide, things like that. Okay, with the adaptations, I want to try to remember these three things because these are hard for me to remember. So try to come up with a way for you to remember them. And these are three adaptations for self-defense. There's cryptic coloration, and you know that from the game. Crypt means hidden, right? So color, kind of like camouflage, where an organism would hide. So there's a little bird you can see in the gravel, cryptic-like. Okay, they're aposematic, which is like a bright color, warning, like this blue frog that lives in the rainforest. So it's warning, hey, don't eat me, I'm poisonous. I got this big blue color. So it's a warning coloration. And then there's mimicry, which I think is a really neat one. And that's where an organism looks like another organism to protect itself. And there's two types of mimicry. There's Batesian mimicry, where harmless looks like harmful. And this becomes an associative learning exercise for the attacking species. Okay, so you can see right here this little caterpillar looks like this snake. So harmless looks like harmful. And do me a favor and write that in. Example, caterpillar mimics snake. And then Mullerian is where harmful looks like another harmful. So it makes it look doubly harmful. And you can see this kookaburra and yellow jacket here. The kookaburra. Okay, so the harmful looks like the harmful. Like the kookaburra and the yellow jacket. And the kookaburra can sting, but it looks like the yellow jacket that can also sting. So predators wouldn't mess with that. So pause the video real quick and see if you can come up with a way to remember the cryptic, aposematic, and then the two types of mimicry. So remember, cryptic was camouflage. Aposematic was warning, that bright blue frog. You can even write in the blue frog by that. Blue frog. And then the two types of mimicry, Batesian and Mullerian. Okay, mutualism is where both organisms gain. We gotta go back. Okay, so mutualism is where both organisms gain. So the relationship helps both organisms. And I think the best example here, and write this in, example would be Nemo, or a clownfish, and the sea anemone, right? The clownfish lives in the sea anemone and gets protection. And the sea anemone gets cleaned, if you'll remember from the first, one of the first clips in the video, in the movie. The clownfish brushes before Nemo brushes before he goes to school, and he's cleaning his sea anemone. So that's just one example of mutualism. Do me a favor, before you come to class tomorrow, think of another example of mutualism. So one example of mutualism, and you can probably Google this and come up with 10, because there's lots and lots. But just think of one example and have that ready tomorrow in class so you can share it for me. And then commensalism is, it's not very common. It's where one organism benefits and the other one doesn't. Few exist in nature here. Hard to see if there is no reciprocal effect. And so with commensalism, kind of like moss grows on the rock isn't affected, but rock isn't living, so that doesn't really count. A mutualistic relationship would be where the barnacles live on the whale's belly, and the barnacles eat from the whale, and it doesn't affect the whale at all. But some would beg to differ that the whale gets clean. So commensalism is a hard one to come up with for an example, because, it would be hard to know that there was no effect. Okay, so I hope this was helpful.